This video is a quick recap of everything you need to know about Unit 3 test. Unit 3 test is coming up this week, and I want to make sure each one of you has the ammo, the tools, the stuff you need to pass the test with flying colors. So let me break it down for you. There are several sections to this test. If I count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sections of the test, there are a total of 42 questions. That's a lot, but you're going to be just fine. Section number 1 is all fill in the blank, and it's all the old stuff. Stuff that you should know. It's fill in the blank, so you're not getting a choice anymore. You have to know it, you have to know it, you have to know it. So you're going to have to know what president was elected that caused the secession of the southern states? Lincoln. What was super accurate that caused people to die? Mini-ball. What was that thing that stopped infection? Bromine. What was the act, Kansas-Nebraska Act, that caused bleeding Kansas? What was that invention, cotton gin, that caused more slavery? What was the thing that caused the end of slavery at a federal level? Federal level is the 13th Amendment. What was the thing that caused the end of slavery just in the South? Now, if you're like, Mr. Snow, I don't know how to spell Emancipation Proclamation, you can put EP on your answer and that'll be just fine. You're going to have to name all 3 North advantages, which is trains, railroads, telegraphs, and factories. You're going to have to tell me who surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse, Lee. You're going to have to tell me who was an example of total war, Sherman's March. You're going to have to tell me what the first battle was of the Civil War, Fort Sumter. All of those are going to be on your first section, questions 1 through 11, fill in the blank. Let's get into some new stuff. The next section, questions 12 through 14, is multiple choice. You're talking about why did Johnson become president? You're talking about what was the act that caused Johnson to get impeached first. The Something of Office Act. Make sure you know what that act is about. We're going to talk about that racist organization that grew in the South after the Civil War. That was predominantly brought to you by ex-Confederate soldiers originally. KKK. So that's the second section. It's 3 multiple choice questions. Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. The next one's questions 15 through 19 are the 3 presidents of Reconstruction. Johnson, first to be impeached, has a lot of vetoes. Grant, lots of violence. He had to send troops down to the South to attack the KKK. Hayes did not win the popular vote, and he's the one that ended Reconstruction. So you're going to have multiple choice on those ones. You have to figure out who did what for those 3 presidents. The next section, 20 through 22, is another set of fill in the blank. It's terms like, what's the cycle of debt that kept people to plantations? Sharecropping. That sharecropping made people stuck in plantations. What was let me see here. Oh, what was the person who was the first president of the KKK? Nathan Bedford Forrest. What was those series of codes that were curfews and vagrancy laws called? Black codes. Sorry for my child screaming in the background. It is what it is. Let's go to the next section, 23 through 28. It's matching, and this is the section I'm most worried about. You need to know basically 3 pairs of terms. Pair number 1, you need to know the 2 amendments. The 14th Amendment, born here equals rights. You can't take away someone's due process. That's the 14th Amendment. 15th Amendment, all men can vote regardless of race. Know those 2 amendments and the difference between them. The next one is the Freedmen's Bureau and the Enforcement Acts. Freedmen's Bureau gave food and clothes to former slaves. The Enforcement Acts allowed the federal government to arrest the KKK. So know those 2 terms kind of like next to each other and the differences between the 2. And then it's carpetbaggers and it's scallywags. Carpetbaggers were northerners that came south to take advantage of the South during the Reconstruction, and scallywags southerners who took advantage of southerners during Reconstruction. So that's that section. Next section, 29 through 34, is all about impeachment, and it is fill in the blank. You basically need to know everything. Who was the first person impeached? Johnson. You need to know who was almost impeached? Nixon. You need to know that 2-letter word that caused Clinton's impeachment. You need to know who owns the most impeachments, like the most. And you guys know that one because my board tells you. You also need to know what that person I'm talking about that owns the most impeachments, what country was he talking to on the phone that caused him to be impeached that first time? All right, so that's that one. The next section, questions 35 through 40, is all about the Electoral College, and you do get options for this section for the Electoral College. For impeachment, it's fill in the blank. You just need to know it. For the Electoral College, you get some multiple choice for this one. So you need to know, like, how many votes Illinois, or how many electoral points does Illinois have? 19. How many points does it mean that I can become president? I got to get 270. How many visits they visited Illinois in the last 16 years? You need to know how many visits they made to us in the last 16 years. You need to know how many states have had zero visits in the last 16 years. You need to know all of those wonderful things, okay? You need to know how many states are winner take all. That's 48 states. Only 2 states are proportional. What that means is those states actually get proportional of the electoral points based on the popular vote. The rest of the states, it's winner take all. So if you had millions of people in Illinois vote Republican, their votes did not in any way impact the presidential election because it's a winner take all system and it's all about the electoral points. So you need to know all those things about the Electoral College. Section 41 is a short answer, and it has to do with the reading that we did in class. So you better know something about Newtonite. And then finally, there is an essay portion. Now, it's going to be a little different than your normal essay portion. I'll talk about this when we're in class for the test. But you better be able to tell me the ins and outs of how President Lincoln was assassinated. Be able to tell me who was involved, what they were supposed to do, and what actually happened. And there's your test. I just went through the whole thing, section by section, almost question by question. But you at least have an idea of what you need to study for. I'm expecting good grades on this. Peace out.